Have you ever been in a relationship where the other person triggers you so much that you just can't quite see eye to eye? You argue all the time and you end up having to go your separate ways. Maybe you notice that you keep on attracting the same types of people with similar personality traits that are really great on you. Well, this is because everybody that you meet, including in love, your friendships, work colleagues, they're somehow reflecting a part of you. Today's video, I'm going to be discussing shadow work and love. But it doesn't just mean romantic love. It doesn't just mean romantic relationships. This is transferable across all of your connections, all of your relationships. Now, shadow work is best done in relationship. It can only really be done in relationship. We have the people who really piss us off to thank for showing us parts of ourselves. We have the people who we really admire to thank for showing us parts of ourselves, because our shadow is projected unconsciously onto other people. We unconsciously put parts of ourselves onto other people because we haven't been able to see them yet, because our ego has wanted to place it outside of us, because it's quite happy with our persona, with the identity, the mask, the identity that we show the world that we are. But really, there's another side to us. There are personality traits and parts of us, maybe repressed emotions and things that we maybe don't like, or we just don't believe that we are that sexy, confident woman. We put that out onto somebody else and we say, that's them, that's not me. No, this isn't the case. That is you too. This is where people get really uncomfortable with shadow work, because the ego doesn't like it. The ego doesn't like to be challenged. And I get it, right? No one likes to be told they're wrong. The ego doesn't want to be wrong. Although the ego knows it's not wrong, it just doesn't want you to accept these other parts of you because it doesn't feel that it's safe. It doesn't feel you be loved and accepted if you were to be seen as the whole majestic truth of who you are. But let's go into how shadow work can help you in love. Have a look at your recent partners. Maybe you're in a relationship right now. Maybe you are single and you have a series of exes. Do they all have similar personality traits? What are they? Do you often repeat unhealthy relationship dynamics? What are they? If you can link patterns back to how you have to experiences that you've had in relationships before, you'll be able to see the pattern, the link, and feel the emotion that this kind of shadow aspect is asking you to feel, to see, because you are projecting. I'm going to use an example. So say that you have attracted people before who you think are really selfish. And you know, they have selfish traits. They don't put you first. You know, you're always left like feeling like second best. Maybe this is a shadow aspect of you, the selfishness, because maybe you show up in relationships without boundaries, without being able to put yourself first. In your everyday life, do you put yourself first? So a person who sees themselves as selfless and always puts everybody else first will often be triggered by somebody who is selfish. So if you keep on repeating, like bringing in the same partners who have this selfish trait, your shadow is asking to be seen. So this selfish has light and dark in it. So there's a polarity to every emotion. There's a light and a dark to everything. So the light side of selfishness is that somebody has boundaries and they care for themselves, and they're going to get what they want. The dark side is that maybe they forget about other people's feelings, and they aren't kind, and the other person is left feeling like second best. So the light and the dark of selfish. So the ego, your ego, saying this is you, has put selfish into your shadow, into the unconscious, the hidden, the dark, pulled a curtain over it because in some way it doesn't want to be seen as selfish for either or, right? But so you take on the embodiment of selfless. Oh, I'm so selfless. And your ego likes to be seen as selfless. So you attracting people who are selfish, that's going to trigger you, or they're perceived as selfish. You perceive them as selfish. Somebody else might not perceive them as selfish, but you perceive them as selfish because it's triggering that shadow part of you. So your shadow's asking to be seen. Like, no, you have this in you as well, but it's okay to accept the light and the dark. So it's asking you to take this back so that you can become whole. Once you're able to heal this kind of shadow aspect, integrate this shadow aspect, you're then able to act from a place of wholeness, and you will stop attracting people who trigger this selfish wound, who are selfish. You will attract people who are on a more balanced, boundaried, selfless place, thus leading to more peace in your relationships. And this can be the same for lots of different traits like laziness, messiness. I'm trying to think of things that couples might argue about, things in money. Like, you're basically going to see unconscious parts of yourself projected onto other people. And that includes good parts as well. So anything that you really admire in somebody, and maybe you don't quite feel good enough for them, that is a part of you too. So that light is in you too, and your shadow is asking you to reclaim it. All of these kind of patterns, all of these shadow aspects are asking you to heal something in yourself. When you are able to heal this, when you're able to accept your shadow, see your shadow, love your shadow, and ultimately integrate your shadow, you can act from a new conscious place. And things shift internally, they shift externally. So you will be able to start to meet the man of your dreams or the partner of your dreams and live a more kind of whole and peaceful, fulfilled, truly consciously loving life. Doing shadow work together in a partnership is also really, really powerful. And if you're in a conscious relationship, or you desire to be in a conscious relationship, both of you being aware of your own childhood wounds will really, really help this. So childhood wounds and your kind of attachment style, knowing what they are, knowing about yourself, having deep self-awareness is going to help you build a strong conscious relationship. Do you have a fear of abandonment or fear of rejection, fear of being judged or criticized? All of these will be triggered in a relationship. And you will be asked to look at them over and over again until you heal it, until you are able to, like, and I say heal it as in, you know, you're actually not broken, you're a whole beautiful being, but there are triggers, there are wounds there that are open to be triggered, especially when we're in a close, intimate connection with somebody. But your shadow, your childhood wounds, your ego is going to try and protect you in a relationship. So you will never be able to be fully close and fully intimate and experience the deep kind of love that you want while ever you're not healing your own self. Any experiences or wounds that you may have from childhood, from your teenage years, from even past relationships will leave imprints on your shadow, so that because it will be pushed into the unconscious because you didn't want to deal with it then, you couldn't deal with it then. And when it's shown up in somebody else and you become aware of it, you can deal with it now. So you're being asked to heal this part of yourself. Bathe yourself in love and compassion and awareness. And eventually you will stop being triggered in the same ways. I cannot express how powerful this work is. I met my partner almost a year ago. And at first, this is like a personal story. And at first, we were just head over heels in love, totally like admiration for each other. And one weekend, we started triggering each other like mad. And we started seeing like the worst parts of ourselves in each other. And oh my gosh, it was painful. We had to discuss shadow work. I had to explain what the shadow was, what projection was, so that we could agree together to build a conscious relationship and heal our own shit. So our relationship has become a deep, deep avenue for shadow work. And we honestly we excel in it. We're really good at it, but it doesn't mean it hasn't been painful, because another thing that you have to do is you have to take full responsibility for yourself. This is where self-awareness comes in, because you have to take full responsibility for yourself, for your shit, for your ego. But the ego wants to blame. So the ego wants to blame the other person. It wants to say, no, this is all you. This is all you. And none of it's me. I'm the victim. This isn't true. This is you're being triggered because it's your stuff. It's your wounds. So it's your responsibility to bring love, to bring compassion, to bring non-judgment into yourself. Like, this is ultimate self-love, ultimate self-care. You want to practice self-love. Shadow work is the number one thing you should be looking at, because it affects your health, your relationships, and your love life. And also your love life can be the deepest avenue for shadow work. And once you're able to bring all of this love into yourself, and if you in a relationship are willing to do this together, you can support each other. You know, the egos can often want to be really sticky and go, nope, I'm not, they're the enemy. I'm not helping them. This is their shit. They have to sort it out. No, in a relationship, you get to support each other and nurture each other and hold each other like you would want to be held, whilst the other person works with their stuff, and vice versa. It's a partnership. And this is like, people say that you want a conscious relationship. Do you? Because be prepared for the enlightening experience it brings with it. It is both beautiful and painful at the same time. It's like the true polarity, like a real polarity of love. But ultimately, what you're building is something that probably can't be broken. So, yes, me and my partner are still together. And shadow work is going strong. But ultimately, we love and hold each other through it. And it is so, so powerful. And shadow work helps you like strengthen your sense of self. We're not trying to kill the ego. It's okay, ego. We're not trying to kill you. We're not trying to kill the ego. We're not trying to get rid of the ego. We are working with the ego. We are building a sense of self that we are happy with, that makes us, we are moving towards our wholeness, towards our truth. And that means we have a more secure sense of self. We don't need validation from partners. We're not going to chase the bad, like the shitty relationship because we need validation. We're going to be so secure within ourselves that we will meet somebody, we will be an energetic match for somebody who is the same. So by doing your shadow work, you become secure in yourself, and you meet someone who is secure, who is a true match for your wholeness. And so when you've integrated your shadow, when you're integrating your shadow, whilst there'll still be little mirrors and little triggers here and there, and, do you ever really fully solve anything in one lifetime? I don't know. But you'll be able to naturally attract healthier, happier relationships. And this, like I've said at the beginning, goes for your love life, your friendships, your business connections, work colleagues, and I should mention a disclaimer here. There's doing shadow work in a relationship, and there's also knowing when to walk away. When you have your self-awareness, when you're able to connect with your intuition, like, you don't have to stay in a bad relationship, a relationship that's not healthy for you, for the sake of shadow work. So if something isn't right, something doesn't feel right, if you're being given signals of red flags, know when to walk away. Have trust in those inner whispers and know when to walk away. Know when it's merely a trigger, when it's your ego, and know when you need to leave. It's okay to leave. But okay, so on that note, here are some practical tips for shadow work in a relationship. You need to be really self-aware. So you need to be aware of who you are, what your triggers are. you can write down all of the like any unhealthy traits, any repeating patterns in previous relationships. Maybe you've been cheated on in every relationship. Maybe you've cheated on them in past relationships. But be aware of your patterns, be aware of what's happened. Have you always been left heartbroken? Are you always the one who leaves? Do you like, and what might these experiences be trying to tell you? So like really like heightened self-awareness is going to be the number one key for shadow work in relationships. And being able to take responsibility. Instead of saying, this is them, I am the victim, the ego wants to play the victim. Can you flip it and say, what is this trying to show me? What are they trying to show me about myself? Can you be grateful for every trigger as it's showing you an aspect of yourself? It's not always comfortable. The ego is going to get uncomfortable, but let it happen. So take responsibility for your stuff. Let everybody else take responsibility for theirs. And if it's not a match, if you're trying to be conscious and aware of your own self, your own ego, your own shadow, and they're not, it's just not a match. You're allowed to walk away. You're calling in something higher. Knowing your boundaries and knowing what you want, because knowing the type of person you want to be with, that again is a reflection of you. So then you're able to step into that as well. So this is who I want to be with. Know who you want to be with, and then know like where you are. Kind of have a look at your past relationships, know where you are, and what's the gap, and how do you need to show up as this person to meet a match, like to meet the match, because you're always meeting an energetic match to yourself. So I hope this helps. I have some journal prompts for you as well, and they'll be in the description below. But what qualities in others frustrate or trigger me, and how might these reflect my shadow? And you can go for admiration. What do I admire in others? But also what frustrates me in others? How did my childhood experiences shape how I give and receive love? While you're doing these, please be kind to yourself. Bathe yourself in compassion. Bathe yourself in love. I know not everybody had a beautiful, loving childhood, and some childhoods are worse than others. But please be kind to yourself, whatever you experienced, and just like hold yourself in a loving bubble while you do this journaling. I promise it will change your life. And if you want to take shadow work a step further, I have created an incredible shadow and dream work bundle called Illuminate Your Shadow, so that you can unlock your hidden potential and break free from any limitations that might be holding you back from being your true self. This bundle includes 30 days of journal prompts, videos, active imaginations, and an extensive guide on shadow work and dream work, including how to interpret your dreams with a Jungian lens, with this shadow work lens, to help you move closer to the true self. If you're interested in taking your shadow work journey further, you can find the link for the bundle in the description. I hope you have a beautiful day. I hope this has helped. If you have any questions, any comments, do pop them down below and I will get back to you personally.